Hi everyone! The first video of the new decade. It's finally 2020. It's all over. Let's make this decade a good one. Let's make this year a good one. This video is mostly talking about last year, the last decade, and in general, my New Year resolutions, because I have a few. Last decade was the worst in just general. I mean, a lot of good stuff happened, but the bad stuff outweighed everything good. Obviously, the good things this year is I started writing fan fictions. I believe that was I think I mentioned it before, back in 2013. But then, obviously, in 2017, I started writing. I found Boku no Hero. I started writing for it. And I now have all you amazing people there reading, supporting me, and just really inspiring me to be the best writer I can be. So that's all great, and I love it. Last decade, I also completely paid for my self-publishing package to publish a novel. All I need to do now is finish writing it, and then they'll work on it from there. So they'll be editing it. We'll be doing the things, doing the cover, the designs. I am really looking forward to it. So this year, if I can get it done, because I'm aiming to hopefully get it done before before the end of January, if not the end of February. Hopefully, by the end of this year, I will have published properly, and that's exciting. That's exciting because this decade is definitely going to be one of the best of my life. But last year, obviously, I've gone over the good, the bad. A lot of shit happened to me. There was issues with my eldest sister. She was very complicated with that side of the family, but she was in and out of our lives. Definitely from secondary school, she was in and out. It was ridiculous. Then there was an entire thing with schools. I was bullied relentlessly all through primary school, and then secondary. It only really stopped in year 11 when I finally decided to start standing up for myself. So I had a really bad time during all of my school years because people didn't like me, and I had no idea why. I was just bullied. It wasn't until later on that someone told me that it was because I was happy being myself. So people would bully me because they were jealous that I was being myself, because I was the type of person who would go and sit in the library every break and lunchtime. I was the only one who took out this giant space book, which was the biggest point in the entire library. I was the kind of person who would go and play Pokemon in front of everyone. And it was quite obvious that I would never hide how much I loved fantasy books. And that later became an issue with one of my English teachers, because she decided to make us watch Shaun of the Dead. And I told her before that I don't like zombie movies. She made me sit there, watch it, and I was bullied relentlessly after I burst into tears. So that was lovely. She then left, and we got a much better English teacher. The issue was that she ended up putting on my school report that I was immature and narrow-minded. So, that was not really good, and I was very happy to see her go, because I didn't like her after that. But then, my new English teacher, I loved her. She was great. The English teachers they had after that were brilliant. Then I got to college. And it was in 2016 where, when I was 18, everything just got a little worse. Like, I wasn't bullied anymore. Everyone grows up in college and everyone's different, deal with it. But then in 2016, and I remember the exact date, it was on the 17th of May. It was a Tuesday. And I had plans for that day. I remembered my plans completely. I had a dentist appointment and I had auditions because I turned one of my stories into a play and no one was really interested, to be honest. But I had all that planned. And that is when it became the worst day of my life. Because I got a phone call on my way down to the dentist. And it was my brother. And it was my mom. It was my mom's phone. And I was like, she's probably ringing me because she wants me to go down to my appointment because I'm going alone for the first time. She didn't want me to miss it. It was actually my brother. And he had to tell me that our mum had been found dead. And at that point, my mum was really the only one in our life. Sorry. Because it was, my dad had been out of my life since I was like really, really young, maybe between 3 and 4, but he ended up cheating on my mom, so we just up and left. I was quite happy living with my mom, obviously, but then I was 18 at this point, and then I had my 3 younger brothers. The youngest hadn't even reached 10 yet. So you can imagine what this was like. Just suddenly, your entire life falls apart. Sorry. I have always been the worst with emotions. But obviously, I had to rush back home. My college was such a big help at that point. They ended up booking me a taxi home. They paid for it. They were literally expecting me to be off for a while. I came in the following week and they were like, no, you don't have to be here. But then they helped me with bus fare. They would pay for my bus fare the entire way. So my college was just so much help during that time. But my nan had to take in my youngest brother. The middle brother ended up having to go live with his grandparents. We no longer have contact with him, which is mostly for the best because he was horrible to the youngest brother. He was extremely abusive. But then, which left me and the oldest of my younger brothers. It was just the 2 of us, and I was the oldest, so I was the one who was basically now in charge. I had to take care of my brother. I had to find something to do. Obviously, even though I was working, when I was obviously in college, I had to go in some income support to basically to be able to afford the shopping. My great uncle at this point was a godsend because he was living in Scotland, and he came down, and he's still here. He has been the biggest emotional support, and I can't thank him enough for that. But sorry, I don't really speak about it because I always get like this. I am an emotional wreck. But we found out it was because she had DVT. She had been to the doctors and they had said that she was fine. obviously a doctor says you're fine. You kind of, well, she was fine other than having a viral infection. That's what she said. That's what they said she had. That it was just a viral infection. You can get rid of that fairly easy. She had obviously medication she was on. But then, like, when the doctors found out, they were like, oh, but she was getting better. It's like, well, yes, maybe in your freaking eyes, but it all went down on a Sunday, and then it was over 3 days that it just complete train wreck in our life. And we've been alone since then. Like my father, it's like my father, he's estranged from me. I don't speak to him whatsoever, apart from one Christmas when I was at uni, and he turned around and was like, oh, Merry Christmas, remember, I'm here and I love you. That was the first time he spoke to me in a few years. So, obviously, I want nothing to do with him, and now I'm not speaking to the entire side of my father's family because of the amount of shit they caused for everyone on this side. My family life has just been a complete and utter wreck this year, last decade. But yeah, that was definitely the event that made last decade the worst decade of my life. I know anyone, I can't speak for anyone else who has lost family members, but obviously I know how painful it can be and all that. But I can also say that if you know someone who loses a family, do not ask them if they're okay. People did that to me, and it's like, I just lost my mother. What do you think? It was my ex-boyfriend that had the best reply. All he did was walk up to me and give me a hug. So, I really thank him for that. That was like the only response that I got from people that actually helped in a sense, I guess. Other than my friend Will, who allowed me to stay at theirs for the first week, because I just couldn't be in the house. So I have a lot of people, just a lot of wonderful people helped me last decade, and I can't thank them enough for that. So I can definitely say that this decade is not going to be as bad as last. And move on to more joyful things before I cry again. But before I do move on to other things, this is what my great uncle got me this year for Christmas. It's a mug with pictures of my mom, which is lovely. It's great. She hated having her photo taken. So on the rare photos we have of her, I have one at my accommodation at Kiel, and it's my prom. It's the day of my prom, and we were just kind of standing. We were outside, and we were standing next to each other. It was great. I loved it. Because we did the whole prom dress shopping and everything. It was so much fun. But that was like in 2014, and that was like 2 whole years. So it's very easy. It's unexpected how quickly your entire life can change. So yeah, that's last decade. Terrible time for me personally. So I have some aims for this decade, and obviously this year mainly. Obviously the first one I've mentioned is basically the publishing of a novel. It is going to be the original novel version of The Volume of the Heart. I will be keeping people updated on my Tumblr about that. I am working through the chapters slowly, but there are a few chapters that I will be completely wiping out and replacing with completely different ones. I think the main one I will be doing will be the fuck chapter, and late ones closer to the end of the novel, but there'll still remain 50 chapters. So that's all done, but I'm working on that. Get that done, get it published. I'll keep you guys all updated, and hopefully it does go well, because I have you guys supporting me, and your support means everything. Another thing I want to do this year, I aiming to pass my first year of doing my creative writing course with the highest I can. There's a bit of I had a bit of trouble with one of my courses this year, especially with definitely one of my modules, because I was terrible at it. Big mistake choosing it. But everything else is going okay. I'm still awaiting on most of my results from the last 2 essays. And I've got some work due in on the 7th, but I'm getting that done. It's poetry. I'm just writing commentaries on how my poetry did. But then I've obviously got my next semester where I get to do my Japanese module, so I'm looking forward to that. And fingers crossed I do well. I'm terrible at everything else. What else am I aiming to do this year? Other than, I think it's mainly just goals in my writing. I want to get better. I want to obviously write better and everything. I still have a lot to learn about writing. But in general, this decade, I do want to at least try. Well, I'm debating going into a master's degree in the creative writing, because I know the university I'm currently attending has a creative writing master's course, in which the entry, I basically have to do a portfolio with things I've written, so maybe 1 or 2 chapters. So I need to do a bit more research into that, but I'm considering it for later on. Not too sure yet, but if I do go into it, it'll all happen within this decade, which is great. I'm aiming to go abroad for the first time in this decade as well. Me and a friend are hopefully planning to go to Japan, so that would be my first time out of this country in general. So that should be fun. I don't think, other than my writing and just trying new things, I don't really have a lot planned for this decade or year that isn't education or writing based. I live under a rock. My entire life revolves around writing in personal and educational. I really don't have anything else. Oh, I want to get better at drawing people. I am terrible at drawing people. It's the hands. It's the hands and it's the feet. Shoes also. Yeah, shoes are terrible. But I want to get better with my drawing. That would be a nice aim. I want to find a drawing application that isn't shitty. Most of them are okay. I want to start doing maybe I'll start doing some speed art on here. Once my pen arrives tomorrow, I'm going to put this up today. But yeah, let's make this year the best. Okay? I'm going to do my hardest. I know you're going to do your hardest. I believe in all of you watching this. I believe you're going to be great. You're always going to be great. I believe in you so much, and I love you all. I don't say how much I love all my readers much, and I really should, because I do love you guys. You guys are great. You support me. Most of the time I'm questioning my writing a lot, and you guys just I'm loving this, and I'm like, how? But it's just, I love you guys. I really do love you guys. And I'm... Oh, my fucking hair. I am never cutting my hair like this fucking again, okay? Remind me never to cut my hair like this again. It's starting to annoy me. Never mind. I believe in you all. Before I said that. Where was I? I've lost track. My mind. I hate it sometimes. But yes, I believe in you all. You guys believe in me even if I'm not believing in myself at the time. And just thank you for sticking with me since I've been writing Broken a Hero. And I hope you guys stick with me longer. I have so many more ideas. And I'll probably be posting a few more chapters today. I'm posting my first chapter of the decade to as soon as this is uploaded, because I need to update Nichan, and that'll be the first one of the decade. I was meant to post it yesterday. I forgot. I was distracted by Doctor Who. But for now, I think that's everything for now. I should go before I go off topic again. Because everyone knows it's going to happen. I always go off topic. But yes. Bad last decade. This decade should be great. I'm in for, hopefully, a very good year. A very good decade. Fingers crossed. And I wish you well in all of your endeavours of this year. You are fantastic. And I believe in you. So until the next video, bye!